Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Prabhupada and Guru Maharaj. Yeah, I think Achal will Sriraj Mataji. Whenever you're ready, you can start Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah, sure. Just give me 1 second. Okay. I'm trying to see how far do I have to go from 23. 1 minute, second, Prabhu.
Sure.
Yeah, 23 to 34. Okay. Hare Krishna devotee, and I pranam. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and Guru Dev. I'll start out with the prayers. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chevam Narotayam Devi Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jaye Uddaye Nistapraye Advaishu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhakti Uttam Sloke Bhakti Ve Uttam Sloke Bhaktir Bhavati Nistike. Today we're reading from Canto 4, Chapter 4, Sati quits her body, from 23 to text 23 to 34. Text 23. Because our family relationship with our family relationship with Lord Sri Shiva addressed me as Dakshanya, I at once became morose, and my jolliness and my smile at once disappeared. I felt very much sorry that my body, which is just like a bag, has been produced by you. I shall therefore give it up. Text 24. Mithya, the sage, told Vidura, O annihilator of enemies, while thus speaking to her father in the arena of sacrifice, Sati sat down on the ground and faced north. Dressed in saffron garments, she sanctified herself with water and closed her eyes to observe herself in the process of mystic yoga. Text 25. First of all, she sat in the required sitting posture, and then she carried the life air upward and placed it in the position of equilibrium near the navel. Then she raised her life air mixed with intelligence to the heart, and then gradually towards the promontory passage, and from there to between her eyebrows. Text 26. Thus, in order to give up her body, which had been so respectfully and affectionately set on the lap of the Lord Shiva, she is worshipped by great sages and saints. Sati, due to anger towards her father, began to meditate on the fiery air within the body. Text 27. Sati concentrated all her meditation on the holy lotus feet of her husband, Lord Shiva, who is the supreme spiritual master of all the world. Thus, she became completely cleansed of all taints of sins and quits her body in the blazing fire by meditating on the fiery element. Text 28. When Sati annihilated her body in anger, there was tremendous roar all over the universe. Why had Sati, the wife of the most respectable demigod, Lord Shiva, quit her body in such a manner? Text 29. It was astonishing that Daksha, who was Prajapati, the maintainer of all living entity, was so disrespectful to her own daughter Sati, who was not only chaste but was also a great soul, that she gave up her body because of the neglect. Text 30. Daksha, who is so hard-hearted that he is unworthy to be a Brahmana, while gain extensive ill fame because of his offense to his daughter, because of not having prevented her death, and because of her great envy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 31. While people were talking amongst themselves about the wonderful voluntarily death of Sati, the attendants who had come with her readied themselves to kill Daksha and their weapon. Text 32. They came forward forcibly, but Bhrigu Muni saw the danger and, offering oblation into the southern side of the sacrificial fire, immediately uttered mantri hymn from the Yajur Veda, by which the destroyer of Yajni could be killed immediately. Text 33. When Bhrigu Muni offered oblations in the fire, immediately many thousands of demigods named Rubas became manifested. All of them were powerful, having achieved strength from the Soma, the moon. Text 34. When the Ruba demigod attacked the ghost of Guyakska with half-burned fuel from the Yajna fire, all these attendants of Sati fell in the different direction of disappearing. This was possible simply because Brahma Teja, Brahmanical power. Hare Krishna. This ends the Bhakti Vedanta chapter 4. Sati quits her body. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare.
Thank you so much, Madhi. Hare Krishna. When you're ready, Sundaracala Prabhu, you can continue, Prabhu.
Okay, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Thank you for reading Atiyal Belli Sri Radhe Mataji. Pranams to Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis for attending today's Bhagavatam session. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalaakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pacharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschata Deshadharine. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktavrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Yesterday's class that we heard from Krishna Vinadas Prabhuji, we discussed till 22nd verse. We heard till 22nd verse on 4th chapter, 4th canto. Sati quits her body. And for a glance, the actual discussion between Maitreya and Vidura, when a question was asked about explanation about Visarga, the secondary creation, then the description as an answer, Lord Brahma actually explains, Maitreya Muni explains as part of the question on the Visarga. So as part of the Visarga, how the difficulties faced by Brahma in expanding the living entities in this universe, what challenges he went through. He had underwent disturbances, he undergone deviation, he also undergone he was discouraged, as well as he was not so much satisfied with the progenation going on with the sages who are directly born to Brahma. So with all these challenges that he had during this Visarga, at last he gets Swayambhu Manu and Satarupa, and they have taken up this task of progenation so seriously. And this is a desire of the Supreme Lord in one sense, to expand the living entities in this universe. So when Swayambhu Manu expanded they progenited, and we discussed till the third daughter of Swayambhu Manu and Satarupa, Prasuti. So genealogical chart of Prasuti is what is currently being discussed. So Prasuti married Daksha, and Daksha's daughter is Sati. And currently we are discussing the past times where Sati has quit her body. So far in this chapter, Sati gets Sati leaves the Lord Shiva, and Sati gets a cold response from Daksha when she tries to attend the ceremony, the sacrificial ceremony. Sati condemns Daksha, and on the points that who would hate Lord Shiva except you, a lowly person like you, and you insulted an exalted personality, and the dust of a Vaishnavas destroys an offender. Lord Shiva's name, fame, orders, and lotus feet are so glorious. Since my body was born from a blasphemer, I will give it up, says Mother Sati. Lord Shiva is not obliged to follow the Vedic rules. Here, Sati gives a clarification. So, materialists cannot achieve the powers of transcendentalists for the question that Daksha might have. Oh, you look so power stricken while staying with Lord Shiva. If you're saying he is so powerful? He's so exalted. Where are his opulences? So for that, she's saying materialists cannot achieve the powers of transcendentalists in the 21st verse, 22nd to 23rd. My body is a source of embarrassment. So Sati is actually showing us a way how to deal with the offensive mentality towards a Vaishnavas, exalted Vaishnavas, and what is the course of action. So yes, so yesterday Krishna Venadas Prabhuji has discussed mostly very detailedly. So text 23 we will start from today. So text 23 is also where Sati is expressing that my body is a source of embarrassment. So whenever Lord Shiva used to address lovingly Mother Sati that as a Dakshayini, which means daughter of King Daksha. But whenever he addresses Mother Sati like that, she is here explaining that she becomes ashamed because Daksha was an incarnation of all offenses. Because he is so offensive towards an exalted person like a Shiva, she is expressing her um, um, her that she's being ashamed having a material relationship with Daksha, and embodiment of Daksha is an embodiment of envy and unnecessarily blasphemed Lord Shiva. So simply by hearing Lord Shiva as addressing her as Dakshayini, she felt afflicted because her body, the symbol of all, is sourced from Daksha, who is a symbol of all offensiveness. And since her body was constantly source of unhappiness to her, she decided to give it up. So text 24, where Sati gives up her body, Sati's 24 to 27, that's it is explained detailedly. Sati's mystic yoga, how she performs his mystic yoga is explained. It is said that when a man desires to quit his body, he dresses in saffron garments. That is a customary. And here Sati has dressed herself in the yellow or saffron garments, so to indicate that she's going to quit her body. And instead of killing Daksha, she decided that it is better to destroy the part of this body which was which is sourced from Daksha, which is given by Daksha. That's what she thought. And she is a very small girl actually. If you see, she is decided she's not even in an age where she can progenate. So that is the age in which Sati is going through all these difficulties. Lord Shiva is known as Yogeshwara, best among all yogis. And so it appeared that Sati also knew them, the position of Lord Shiva and also the position of Daksha very nicely. And yogis who have attained perfection are not subject to death by natural laws. Yogis can leave the body whenever they desire, Prabhupada says. So this yoga system where the body bursts into flames. The yogi go anywhere he likes. This yoga system, Satchakra Yoga, recognizes the soul. Actually, this Prabhupada says the soul cannot be ignored in this system. It is distinct from so-called yoga system, which is currently being followed, which is meant for only keeping the body fit. And the real yoga system, however, is accepting the transmigration of a soul from one planet to another or one body to another. And it appears from this incident that Sati wanted to transfer her soul to another body of spirit. And the procedure is explained in the next verse 25. The yogic process is to control the air passing within the body in different places called Sat Chakra, 6 concentric circles of air circulation. So the life air is situated in the heart, and those life airs are pervaded throughout the body. These life airs is on which the soul also floats. So that life air, there are 5 different types of them, among which Prabhupada is explaining the procedure apana vyana, where in this verse you can see that they are actually, one is flowing upwards, another one is flowing downwards. So while that having been controlled with a equilibrium called samana, the air called samana, by raising gradually the udana, which is another type of life air, while balancing both the vyana and udana, where apana is controlled with prana, when they both are in equilibrium, with even samana is also a life air which is already in the equilibrium phase. The Udana life air is being brought up gradually from navel chakra, gradual upwards till Murdana sthana, where Lord Vaishnavas put their tilaka on the Buddha on their on the head. So the yogis practice basically to release the soul from this part, and that is what is explained in this verse detailedly. And if you are interested, you can read this purport. So here Prabhupada says the great technique which has to practice to attain the highest perfection stage of yoga, but such practice is not meant for this age. So Prabhupada is clarifying. It might look very fancy, very attractive, very austere, but it's not meant for this age. It's not that this practice has no effect. It's just that it is not meant for this age. No one in this age can attain the perfection of such yoga. People still indulge in such practicing postures, are more or less like a gymnastic practices, and it helps with the body, good blood circulation, and keeps body fit. And but it doesn't help us to attain the perfection of one's human life. So Prabhupada quotes Keshava Shruti, which is yogic shastra reference, where it is mentioned how can one control his life force, living force, according to his desire and transmigrate from body to another and one place to another. In other words, yoga practice is not meant to keep the body fit, but rather it helps one to reach the destination that they want. And that is the objective. And transcendental process of spiritual realization automatically, here Prabhupada is saying for our confidence, oh, I am doing bhakti. It looks so simple. Is it going to give me any result? For that, Prabhupada is giving clarity. Yoga practices, any transcendental process that includes bhakti yoga of spiritual realization, they are all meant for spiritual realization, automatically helps one to keep the body fit. Don't worry that your body will become weak if you do bhakti yoga, if I don't do Ashtanga yoga. Our body will still be fit automatically when we practice bhakti yoga itself. It is the spirit soul that keeps the body always fresh. Prabhupada is saying, as soon as the spirit soul is out of the body, the material body immediately begins to decompose. So The spiritual process keeps the body fit. So no separate endeavor is required. Prabhupada is saying ultimate aim of yoga is, the real perfection is elevation of a soul to the liberation, and then above liberation to the dham of Lord Krishna. So some yogis try to elevate to higher their soul to the higher planets. Some yogis try to directly elevate their soul to Vaikuntha planets. Some yogis try to go and merge into Supreme Lord. So here Bhakti Yoga process, however, directly elevates the soul. There is no such thing as going through the intermediate phases, Krama Mukti, as described in the second canto. We can simply, following the Bhakti Yoga process, we can elevate the soul, and we can be eternally blissful, full of knowledge, and therefore the Bhakti Yoga is considered to be the greatest of all yoga systems. So meditation on fire, text 26. So here, Lord Shiva is described here in the best of great soul, Mahatan Mahiyasha. So although Sati's body was born of Daksha, Lord Shiva used to adore her by making her sit on his lap. So it is great token of respect given by Lord Shiva. Sati's body was not an ordinary thing, but still she decided to give it up because it became a source of unhappiness for her because of a connection with Daksha. The severe example set by Sati, Prabhupada is saying, this example set by Sati is to be followed. One should be extremely careful about a very significant point that Prabhupada is making. One should be extremely careful about associating with persons who are not respectful to the higher authorities. It could, in a practical sense, it could be our spiritual authorities. That includes our mentors, our Siksha Guru. It includes our spiritual master, and it includes even temple president and temple authorities who are giving us duties to perform, spiritual duties to perform. Anybody who is not respectful to these higher authorities, one should be very extremely careful about associating with such persons. Here Prabhupada is highlighting. If one wants to be liberated from clutches of material existence, then one has to associate with the great souls. If one wants to continue, however, one's material existential life, Janma Mrityu Jara Vyadhi, may associate with persons who are materialistic. Association is being highlighted. So here it is also mentioned one verse like Bhagavatam 5:5-2, where Mahat Sevam Dwaram Ahur Vimuktes Tamo Dwaram Yoshitam Sangi Sangam Mahantaste Samachitta Prashanta Vimanyaha Suhrudahas Sadhavoye. So Mahat Sevanam Dwaram Ahur Vimuktes. When we serve the great souls, Vaishnavas, the door for liberation is wide open. Whereas when we try to associate and tamo dwaram yoshitam sangam, when we associate with a man with a woman, or a woman trying to associate with a man, keeping Krishna aside, keeping the ultimate objective of her life aside, and that kind of a Mahatmas who are actually prashanta, they are very peaceful, and they are all equal to, if you see a Uttamadhikari, he sees all the living spirit soul in all the living entities. He sees them equal. And Vimanyavaha Suhrada Sadhavoye. So such a great, by associating with such kind of people and disconnecting the association with bad, opposite gender, one can simply the door for liberation is wide open for such people, is what is clarified by Prabhupada in this purport. And Sati Devi decided to quit the body she has obtained from Daksha, and she wanted to transfer herself to another body so that she might have completely uncontaminated association with Lord Shiva. So in In her next life, she would take birth as a daughter of Himalayas as Mother Parvati. And she would again accept Lord Shiva as her husband. So they are eternally related. That's what is clarified here. Text 27, Sati quits body. So here, Sati is experiencing nectar of a lotus feet of Lord Shiva. And she was meditating exclusively on that, her lotus feet of Lord Shiva, not anything other than her husband. And Sati witnessed herself taints of sins being destroyed gradually in front of her, and by what is destroying it? By the fire produced by the meditation on the lotus feet of Lord Shiva. And is it like a very gradual process? It is here. It is mentioned prajwala. Vishwanath Thakur highlights here that jwala means something which is instantaneous, in fraction of second. That means everything happened in a fraction of second only, very fast. A blazing fire, and immediately she left the body. And Sati at once thought lotus feet of her husband, Lord Shiva, who is one of the three great personality of Godhead, in charge of management of material world. Simply by meditating on his lotus feet, she derived great pleasure, and she forgot everything in relationship with body that includes about his father, which is completely material. And if you, as you can see, what was the contamination that Sati is trying to burn away? What is that contamination? Was her concept of body derived from Daksha, but she forgot that bodily relationship. How she, actually in the process, she forgot the relationship in a trance. The purport is that, however, the purport is when one becomes free from all bodily relationships within this material, simply places himself as in the position of a servant of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Lord, understood that by understanding the contamination of these material attachments, then those contaminations will be burned by blazing fires of transcendental ecstasy. As you can see, as we sing every morning, Samsara dava nalalidha loka tranaya karunya ghana ganatvam, right? Praptasya kalyana gunana vashavanti. So in that, sorry, not that. Cheto darpana marjanam bhavamaha dhavagni nirvapanam. So with the help of a guru, the davagni of this material world, the act ones becomes extinguished with the profuse rain poured by the mercy of one's guru, spiritual master. So that itself here is Prabhupada here quoting that our contaminations will be eliminated automatically with that process. We don't have to do a Sat Chakra yoga and go through all these difficulties. Of course, it is not possible. But simply by, with the mercy of a guru, we can destroy all our anarthas. That is the purport. And also here, Prabhupada is inferring yad kirtanam, yad smaranam, yad ikshanam, yad vandanam, yad shravanam, yad arhanam, lokasya sadhyo vidhunoti kalmasham, tasmai subhadra shravasya namo namaha. Second Canto, 4th chapter and 15th verse. So it is not necessary for one to manifest a blazing fire externally, Prabhupada says. Because here in this verse, lokasya sadhyo vidhunoti kalmasham, the kalmashas, anarthas, and the sinful effects of sins are all at once sadhyo vidhunoti, they get cleansed automatically. When we do kirtanam, smaranam, ikshanam, which is taking darshan of the Lord, we're doing vandanam to the Lord, by hearing about the Lord pastimes, by worshipping the Lord, all that is automatically achieved, Prabhupada is saying. So topmost perfection of yoga, if one keeps his bodily relationship with material world, possesses himself a great yoga. So according to the Jiva Goswami, here our acharyas are giving a detailed explanation. What could be the reasons? When Sati quit her body, what it actually meant. It actually meant that um, removing the relationship. She gave up relationship from her heart that she had with Daksha. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur ji is saying, as Sati is a superintendent deity, Durga, external potency, and she quit her body. She did not get a spiritual body, but simply transferred her body received from Daksha. And commentators also say that transferred herself to womb of Menaka, her future mother. And she transferred herself to a better body. That does not mean she got a spiritual body. Prabhupada is clarifying from the commentary of our acharyas. So what happened? Great cry arose from the sky, roar in the universe, when this incident has happened, when Sati has left. So there was a tumultuous roaring all over the universe. Demigods were astonished. Greatest of she's the daughter of greatest of the kings, wife of a Lord Shiva, who is a quality incarnation of Supreme Lord. How could this happen that she left the body in such a way? Why did she become angry? She gave up her body. But still, here Prabhupada highlights, she gave up her body in dissatisfaction. This was astonishing. The reason for that astonishment of Devatas is this. Despite her great position, she left her body in dissatisfaction. One cannot attain complete satisfaction even if one is situated in greatest material opulence, purport, essence. Noting Sati cannot achieve. But still for some reason she was dissatisfied. And Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.6, our one of the essential verses, it says, Savai pumsam paro dharmo yato bhaktir adhokshache ahaituki apratihata yayatma suprasidati. So the Atma gets really satisfied, suprasidati, when we surrender ourselves to the Supreme Lord Krishna, right? And the body, mind, and soul is actually the Atma, could mean the body, mind, and soul all become completely satisfied, right? One develops a devotional service to Lord Krishna. Otherwise, there is no possibility of satisfaction in this material world or anywhere else. Prabhupada is saying Daksha's neglect is explained in 29th verse. Aho anatmayam. Oh, such a neglect. So Devatas are wondering. Pashyata, just see. The maintainer of the Prajas, the Prajapati, the great Prajapati, what did he do? Disrespected Sati, his own daughter. Vimatatmaja Sati. Disrespected. What is her nature? She is Manaswini, chaste. Manam Abhikshnam Arhati. She deserves the repeated and greatest of the respects. So this is another reason for the astonishment. So here, as you can notice, the word anatmya is very significant. Prabhupada says, which means life. Here it actually means Daksha is almost like a walking corpse. Though he is alive, he is like a living corpse. Why? The sastric quote that Prabhupada is referring here is Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya Jati Shastra Japas Tapaha Apranasya Dehasya Mandanam Lokaranjanam. Without Bhagavad Bhakti, without respect to the Vaishnavas, who are the desiratories and who are actually a gateway to the liberation, one who is disrespectful, Hinasya, Bhagavad Bhakti Hinasya, even if a person may be having done a lot of tapasya, may have a lot of knowledge, because all these kind of opulence become like a decorations of a dead body, right? Mandanam Lokaranjanam. So they all became source of pride for Daksha. They all became like that. Without service attitude, the purport is cultivate without cultivating the service attitude through the devotional service in one's devotional life, as you can see, just like Daksha's life, without service attitude, one may go on worshipping Lord directly without any association with the devotees, neglecting service attitude. We go on for ages. What happens towards it is generally for a sadhaka, regular person, towards and disrespectful towards Lord servants. Here the service attitude is the key. What happens? Ultimately, it is described, this kind of attitude is nothing but it's like a decoration of a dead body. Absence of a service attitude, our bhakti is nothing but, I mean, most of the cases, a decoration of a dead body. And because the pride is what is going to be an obstruction. That is the reason. And hard-hearted, as you can remember from explanations of Kapilada's teachings, that the separatist mentality of person who is a devotion done in the mode of passion or ignorance, they think that they are the best devotees and others are not. Me, if I end up doing in my individual worship, I may end up like that. That's what is the purport here. Hard-hearted Daksha, verse number 30. Let me check the time, check 36. Let me quickly try to wind up. So Daksha is described here as the most hard-hearted, unqualified to be Brahmana by Sati. Brahmanas are generally soft-hearted, forbearing, but here Daksha is not. So Sati tried her best actually to mitigate the misunderstanding between the father and father-in-law, but that's very, even despite she was not invited, she still attended the ceremony in order to build a relationship with both between them, resolve the matter. So, but what happened? Daksha simply was hard-hearted, and because even though he is a Brahmana by birth, you can see that ill fame of him is still continuing. Daksha means an expert progenitor because he is too much into sense gratification, progenation, and sexually inclined. He became hard-hearted, and because of a slight, because of the prestige and that pride that he has, the hard-heartedness has gone to an extent that he could even tolerate the death of his own daughter, and he is not even caring about it. So our devotional service is supposed to make our heart softer as we progress. But if it is making us hard, there is something wrong. So we have to introspect. 31 to 34. Rubus drive away Lord Shiva's attendants. Shiva's followers attacked. As you can see, the attendants who came with Sati were meant to protect her. Who are those? They were Pramadaganas, who are ghosts, and there is a Guhyakas. So both of those groups, actually, they are very ardent servants of Lord Shiva, and they are sincerely trying to serve and protect Mother Sati. And what happened? In front of them, Sati has left the body. Now they were upset and they were angry. They stood up all of a sudden, and they were lifting their weapons, ready to kill Daksha, because what they thought was, Prabhupada is saying, anyway, we could not prevent this act of that Sati has left the body, unfortunately. Now, as a servant of our master Lord Shiva, let me at least die, protect, trying in an attempt of killing Daksha. That's what they thought. And Prabhupada says this is a right on their part, because it is a duty to die for their master. So in the next verse, what happens? By seeing them, Bruhaspati, Bruhaspati, let me check. Bhrugumuni. He is a Adhvaryu, who is like sitting in a Brahmasthana, where he is running the sacrificial ceremony. As a Adhvaryu, one of those predominant main priests who take part in a sacrificial ceremony, Bhrugu is so powerful here. He chanted Yajurveda mantra, and by chanting, he immediately manifested powerful demigods called Rubhus. And these Rubhus are so powerful that they started, taking up the unfinished, the fuel from the sacrificial ceremony and started attacking back all the Pramadaganas and Guhyakas. As with the power of these Rubhu demigods, they scattered away and they got scared and ran away from that place. So that was the power of the Brahmana Tejas of Bhrugu. So it is Prabhupada clearly explains in the word Brahma Tejasa in the verse 34, the last verse. Brahmana can accomplish wonderful acts with that is the proof of their Brahma Tejasa. And you can see in the present age there is no such Brahmanas, and Pancharatrika system, the age as per that entire population is supposed to consist of Shudras in this current age. But if anyone displays signs of understanding Krishna consciousness, of course there are no Brahmanas by birth. Now how do we recruit as new Brahmanas? So Pancharatrika system, Prabhupada is explaining how do we recruit. If anyone displays the signs of Krishna consciousness, he should be accepted according to Vaishnava Smriti regulations as a prospective Brahmana and should be given all facilities to achieve the highest perfection. Because the most magnanimous gift of Lord Chaitanya is that the highest perfection is available in this fallen world, in this fallen age, if simply adapting chanting of Hare Krishna mantra. Which is going to uplift anyone to the level of spiritual realization, to the highest levels possible. And with that, I will conclude today's Bhagavatam discussion. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for the opportunity to tell the Bhagavad Gita. Thank you, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Thank you very much.
I'm mute. Thank you so much, Sundaracala Prabhu. Wonderful class. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.